With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams 4th of July sale and get 30% off paints and stains June 27th through July 7th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
All right. Back again for another deep dive.
Okay.
This time, we're going through all your searches and articles about Super Bowl LIX.
Yeah.
You guys clearly want to know more than just like who won, what was the score.
Right.
So let's kind of dig in, see what this Super Bowl tells us about, the future of the NFL.
Well, and I think it's so interesting that, these searches, they're really a window into, what the fans are thinking about.
Yeah.
They're not just looking at the stats. They want something a little bit, deeper.
Exactly. And it does start with the basics.
Right.
Super Bowl LIX was a rematch, right? The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Uh-huh.
But, Super Bowl LES, the Chiefs won that one. So this year, there's even more on the line.
And I think, that rematch element is so crucial because you pair that with all the search trends we're seeing, right? Eagles win, fly, Eagles fly, Philadelphia celebration.
Yeah.
This is a story of redemption.
Absolutely, redemption. The Philadelphia Eagles, they did it. They won their second Super Bowl title.
Yeah.
But it's the way they won that has everyone talking, right? We see tons of searches for specific players, and I'm not just talking about like the big names.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like Zach Bann.
Oh, interesting.
What does that tell us about how the Eagles won?
Absolutely. I think while you see those searches for Jalen Hurts' age, Jalen Hurts' Super Bowl, those deep dives into players like Bound, that suggests to me that, it wasn't just star power that won them the Super Bowl. It was, it was a team effort, a strategic victory. And honestly, that can be more intimidating for future opponents than, just a one-man show.
Yeah. It's like, they learned from their previous loss and built a more well-rounded team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you mentioned Jalen Hurts, and obviously he was the MVP. He's young, super talented, and now he's a Super Bowl champ.
Mm-hmm.
What do searches like Jalen Hurts' Super Bowl wins tell us about his potential impact on the league?
Well, I think what we're seeing is the rise of a new generation of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And Hurts is at the forefront. And let's not forget, he went head-to-head with Patrick Mahomes, arguably the biggest name in the game. That's not just a win, that's a statement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of Mahomes, while everyone's celebrating in Philly, there's another side to this.
Right.
We see searches for Patrick Mahomes stats, sure, but also Patrick Mahomes crying.
Oh, wow.
Seems like this loss hit, the Chiefs and Mahomes especially pretty hard.
Yeah, I think, it's a reminder that behind all those stats and the highlight reels, these are human beings.
Right.
And Mahomes has this like superhuman reputation. So to see that vulnerability, I think it really resonates with fans. It adds like another layer to this rivalry.
Yeah.
Makes it more personal.
So much more than just a game.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting personal, let's talk about the fans. Philadelphia riots and Broad Street, Philadelphia are trending high. Now, Eagles fans are known for their, shall we say, passion.
Yeah.
But do these searches, do they hint at anything beyond just celebration?
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword, right?
Okay.
You have this incredible outpouring of joy and pride, which is fantastic.
Uh-huh.
But there's always that potential for things to get out of hand. And it's a reminder that the impact of a Super Bowl win, especially in a city like Philadelphia, it extends far beyond the field.
It's about identity, about belonging,
Yeah.
about a shared experience that can bring out, the best, sometimes the worst in people. Now, while we see a ton of searches about the game itself, Super Bowl stats, Super Bowl scores by quarter, one thing that's noticeably absent is any mention of controversy.
Right.
No questionable calls, no major upsets. What does that silence tell us?
I think that might be the most telling detail of all.
Really?
a clean, decisive victory, that suggests to me that the Eagles were just dominant from start to finish. No lucky breaks, no officiating controversies, just pure skill and execution.
Interesting. So we've got a dominant Eagles victory, potentially a changing of the guard at the quarterback position, and a city electrified by a win that, well, it means so much more than just a trophy. But before we, get too caught up in all the excitement, let's delve into some of the finer details. We'll be right back.
And we're back. Looking through all these searches, it's clear people are already looking ahead. You see tons of searches for Eagles quarterback, Jalen Hurts' age, even Eagles QB 2025. I mean, is this the start of a dynasty?
It's the question on everyone's mind, right?
Yeah.
Hurts has definitely proven himself, but dynasties, they're built on, sustained success.
Right. And let's not forget, the Chiefs, they were on a similar trajectory not too long ago. So the real test for the Eagles, it's going to be maintaining this level of play, adapting to their opponents, avoiding those pitfalls that can really derail even the most promising teams.
And those pitfalls, so often they come in the form of injuries, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a brutal sport, and one wrong move can change everything. Now, we haven't seen any searches specifically related to injuries in this Super Bowl.
Right.
But it's always there, lurking in the background. How much do you think luck plays into building a dynasty?
Oh, it's undeniable. You can have the most talented roster, the best coaching staff, but one freak injury can change the course of a season, even a franchise.
Wow.
The Eagles are going to need to stay healthy, make smart draft picks, and maybe even get a few lucky bounces along the way.
Speaking of draft picks, this Super Bowl has definitely shaken things up. I'm curious, with this win, how do you think the Eagles' strategy might change going into next season?
Well, they're in a really powerful position now, but that also makes them a target. Right. Teams are going to be studying their game film, looking for weaknesses, how to exploit them. So the Eagles need to be smart, maybe focus on bolstering their defense, adding depth to key positions.
And that's where those searches for Eagles head coach come into play. Nick Sirianni, right?
Uh-huh.
He's proven himself as a leader, able to, adapt, strategize. But can he handle the pressure of being the defending champion?
Oh, the pressure is immense.
Yeah.
Every decision he makes is going to be scrutinized. Every win's going to be celebrated. Every loss magnified.
Right.
That ability to handle that pressure, to keep the team focused, motivated. That's what separates the good coaches from the great ones.
And it's not just the coach, it's the entire organization.
Oh, for sure.
From the front office to the training staff, everyone plays a role. We see searches for Eagles Super Bowl wins, which tells me, fans are already hungry for more.
Yeah.
But can the Eagles maintain this level of excellence? Not just for one season, but for, years to come.
That is the million-dollar question.
It is.
And the answer, well, like so much in life, it's complex. Talent's important. Coaching is crucial. But there's also this element of timing, circumstance, being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, the stars have to align.
Exactly.
But even with all those factors in place, there's still that human element.
Uh-huh.
We talked about, Mahomes' reaction. What about the Eagles players?
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of searches for individual players, not just their stats, but their personal life, their backgrounds. What did that tell us about the fans' connection to this team?
I think it's a sign of a really passionate fan base that wants to connect with these players on a personal level. They're not just cheering for jerseys. They're invested in the stories, the journeys of these individuals. And that can create such a powerful bond between the team and the city.
It's like they're welcoming these players into their families.
Yeah.
Sharing in the triumphs, the heartbreaks.
Absolutely.
And that shared experience, that sense of community, it's incredibly powerful, especially in a city like Philadelphia.
Exactly. It's about belonging. It's about pride. It's about being part of something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And when that something is a Super Bowl champion, well, that's a feeling that's hard to beat.
And it's a feeling that reverberates throughout the entire city. We talked about those searches for Broad Street, Philadelphia.
Right.
And it's not just about the celebration. It's about, the economic impact, the tourism boost, the sense of civic pride that a Super Bowl win brings.
It's a tangible reminder of the power of sports to unite a community, to create a shared narrative, to inject, a dose of optimism, excitement into everyday life. And that's something that can have a lasting impact far beyond the final score of a single game.
So we've got this incredible win, a potential dynasty in the making, a city buzzing with excitement. But as we kind of dig deeper into these searches, we see something else emerging.
Okay.
A sense of reflection, of looking back at the journey that brought the Eagles to this moment.
It's natural to want to understand, how they got here, to trace the steps that led to this triumph. And those searches for Eagles Super Bowl history, Eagles past quarterbacks, Eagles underdog story, they're all part of that process of understanding and appreciating the magnitude of this achievement.
It's like piecing together a puzzle, connecting the past to the present, trying to make sense of how it all came together. And that's where things get really interesting, because as we delve into the Eagles' history, we see a pattern emerging, a narrative of resilience, of overcoming adversity, of defying the odds.
It's a story that resonates with fans, especially in a city like Philadelphia.
Right.
Which has its own history of, fighting for what it believes in, never giving up, rising from the ashes.
It's a city built on grit and determination. A city that embraces the underdog, a city that knows how to celebrate a victory unlike any other. And in the Eagles, they see a reflection of themselves, a team that embodies their spirit, their tenacity, their unwavering belief.
And that connection, that shared identity, that's what makes this Super Bowl win so special. It's not just about football. It's about the human spirit. It's about the power of belief, about the triumph of hope over adversity.
It's a story that transcends the sport itself, a story that reminds us that anything is possible, that dreams can come true, that even in the face of doubt and despair, there's always a reason to keep fighting, to keep believing, to keep soaring towards the impossible.
And that's the true legacy of this Super Bowl, the message that it sends to the world, the inspiration that it provides, the reminder that no matter how many times you fall, you can always rise again stronger and more determined than ever before.
It's amazing to see how this Super Bowl has woven itself into the city's identity. But zooming out a bit, let's talk big picture. We've seen how this game could signal a shift in the entire NFL landscape. So what do you see in these searches that hints at what might be next for the league?
I think it really feels like we're at a crossroads. You've got this young, dynamic quarterback, Hurts, challenging the old guard, represented by Mahomes. And it's not even just about individual players. It's a whole new style of play emerging. We see fast-paced offense, creative play calling, mobile quarterbacks, all these searches. The game it's evolving, becoming more dynamic, and the Eagles are right there leading the way.
So it's not just who wins, but how they win.
Exactly.
This Super Bowl might be like a preview of what's to come, the kind of football that'll dominate the next decade. But even with all this change, one thing always stays the same.
What's that?
The fans, their passion. And we see that even in some of the more unusual searches. Super Bowl commercials, Rihanna halftime show, best Super Bowl snacks. It reminds us that the Super Bowl, it's more than a game. It's a cultural phenomenon.
It's an event. It brings people together no matter who they're rooting for. Yeah. Those searches, I think they highlight that shared experience, that sense of anticipation, all the traditions around the Super Bowl. It reminds us that sports can break down barriers, create communities, offer these moments of collective joy,
It's true. And that's what makes doing this whole deep dive so fascinating. It's not just about the Eagles. It's about what this Super Bowl tells us about ourselves, about our values, what we're passionate about, our shared humanity even. We see Super Bowl party ideas, Super Bowl family traditions, Super Bowl memories. It hits you that sports can connect different generations, create these lasting memories, strengthen the ties that bind us.
Absolutely. As we wrap up this deep dive, I think the biggest takeaway isn't about who won or lost.
Yeah.
It's about how powerful this game is, how enduring. The NFL is going to keep changing. New stars will rise, dynasties will fade, but that passion, that excitement, the sense of community around this sport, that will remain.
That's what makes it more than just a game. It's a reflection of our hopes, our dreams, our shared human experience. So, as you all go forth, armed with these insights, remember to look beyond just the headlines. Seek out the deeper meaning. Appreciate the stories that unfold on and off the field.
Because that's where the true magic of the Super Bowl lies. In the stories it inspires, the conversations it sparks, the connections it makes. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep that spirit of the game alive.
Well, everyone, there you have it. Another deep dive completed, another layer of understanding revealed. Until next time, keep digging, keep those questions coming, and we'll be here to help guide you through this ever-evolving world of information.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.